Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. You know, sometimes it helps to just take a deep breath. And when your schedule doesn't allow for recordings right when sometimes you want, or ideally, I had a full teaching day. I'm just now catching on messages. This video would have looked very different just a few hours ago. But I'm thankful I didn't have a chance to record it because now that we have more information, there's a happy ending versus what was, from the earlier messages I received, some of the most justifiable anger I have seen. So, I think several summoners expected Wednesday, right, the 14th maybe, this week, for Act 8 to come out. And we know that you'll have two opportunities now between the Uncollected and the Cavalier difficulty to buy the Exploration Pack to prepare yourself. We're talking single revives, team revives, etc. Well, it's now a couple weeks into the month of September, so if you were expecting that content to hit in the middle of the month, you could buy it right when the new patch came out, right when the new content came out, and be fine. All of those items can go into your inventory overflow, and they would still not expire by the time the content hit. But when Kabam announced today that there was going to be a short delay, several people immediately came out with the same message. Heck no. My potions and revives and spent units are going to basically be expired before that content hits. So it was very ugly at first because you can see consumables expiring from pseudo-same. I bought the Cav exploration offers to stockpile my resources for 8.1 exploration. With this delay, these consumables will expire. I have no way to save these resources since I have no content left in the game. Is there any way to pause the consumables timer, or are there any team plans to compensate players for this delay? It was a very fair worded question, a very respectful way to word it. This is the kind of thing that you just think, Kabam, please don't delete this post because it is following all of the guidelines that you ask people to be when they have a problem or when they need to be critical. So this is like almost a template of how to word something, which I appreciate reading. Fire3 said agreed. What a waste of time spent, especially those who have been waiting since they announced it on the video. Planning everything. Hope they consider reverting. Totally agree. This is not fair to the players who grinded revives, according to the previously mentioned dates. So that's part of the problem with the solution. So we'll talk about the solution, but if you're discussing being refunded units for a something like a Cavalier Uncollected completion event quest bundle, that's one thing. But if you grinded revives, let's say in certain content, or maybe you just consider it grinding revives if you want to max out points like in Level Up or any of the 22-hour events, then you're still going to feel that way as well, and those are going to be harder to replicate. When can Kabam finally start giving away all the info and release dates at the start of each update? This is not fair at all. I have zero interest in Battlegrounds. Same situation. Work in progress says. Alright, so eventually if you keep scrolling down and keep scrolling down and keep scrolling down, first you'll see this. This is so unfair with such short notice. My items are now going to expire since I have no other content to do. Eternity of Pain included, such I just retried until I solo. All these items are useless that I earned and purchased from the exploration offer specifically for this new chapter. I don't care about using those energy refills on Battlegrounds since I'm not buying Elder's Marks. I don't feel that compelled to play, and with no content, that energy is gone. So I'm going to lose 20 plus energy refills, 15 plus team revives and potions, a lot of solo revives and potions, and the 1k units I used to purchase those. All that just to compel me to play a cash grab mode like Battlegrounds, or maybe even buy the conveniently released energy deals today. This isn't just more lack of communication by Kabam. This is just straight up not fair when you give a conclusive date of release and you don't have an actual valid reason to delay it this close to release. Compensation is required. So that's agreed by a lot of people on this forum. And we could spend 30 minutes reading all of this. Of course, you still have defenders like SCZ that says Kabam has told us not to hoard. Well, sorry, buddy, but that's just not a valid comment when we have such limited ability to hoard and even hold potions and revives and items in our inventory. So the potato salad, my man, I think this is Mr. Joe Fixit, said the 8-1 delay has rendered all these items useless as I have nothing to use them for. This is a waste, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go to the last page. Because eventually, and I mean eventually, after all the anger, we do get some response from Kabam, and you can see filed help tickets. It says the intended purpose of the stash is to limit the availability of items that exceed the inventory capacity. Ultimately, it is a player's decision to complete content that would place items in the stash, even if there was an expectation those items would be claimed or used within a given time. Considering that delays may sometimes be required for certain additions or updates to Marvel Contest of Champions, we never recommend intentionally adding to the stash with an expectation that the items can or will be used within a given time. So, in other words, it's on you, player. It's not on us. That's like the worst possible explanation for public relations, by the way. So, does not help. Does not help. Please understand that we will not be providing an extension of items expiring in the stash, even considering the circumstance. So, that's what this video would have felt, right? Just anger. But now we're going to exit this thread and go to this image. Kabam Jacks. Hey, everybody. If you have purchased unit deals in anticipation of the September 14th date and have not used the items, please contact support and they will likely be able to help refund your purchase. They will likely be able to help you. Now, we have seen some people who were just denied that request in the comments, but maybe, just maybe, they were now told on the help requests to actually say, here you go. So in that specific instance, there's some hope. But there were also plenty of people on the forums that were talking about expired items that they grinded and used energy for time-wise in, say, story content that this does not cover. Those items will still be lost and won't be able to be used before this content hits. And it says, to clarify, when we say we want to give breathing room between major releases, it's not giving summoners time between modes. It's to enable the game team to give their full attention to each game mode and to problem solve any major issues that creep up. As we've stated before, releasing multiple major pieces of content at the same time can cause instability in the build, and we want to make sure both game modes release without major problems. Well, my guess is there will still be major problems because that's just part of the nature of the game, but this should make it maybe better. Good news for the people, hopefully, although, like I said, I read the posts from people who were denied this. Hopefully good news for people who purchased that unit bundle and haven't spent the items. But for those of you who are still upset because you didn't purchase the bundle, but your items were still supposed to go to that, I think you're just screwed. I'm sorry to tell you that, but I think you're just screwed. So great news for some and horrible news for others. Really, I think, and maybe there just isn't a way. Like, I'm not trying to pretend I'm a coder. I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative, but I wish there was just a way to pause the inventory timers. I just wish there was. Make this one exception. But if there isn't, and you can only refund the purchases of, say, exploration packs for units, then you're handling a small part of the problem, but certainly not a good chunk of it. So I look forward to reading your comments because this is not a forum post that can be deleted, but a video on a YouTube channel. And that's why I work so hard before bed to record this. Thanks to everybody who sent this my way, especially Crank.